Hello, we're really excited today to be here with Bob Birdsong, one of our alum and very special person in our town. Bob did dual enrollment at BC, currently is president and CEO of OK Generators, and has served in the military and has so much to say that I'm going to turn it right over to Bob. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself and what you're doing now?
Thanks, Joe. I have been the owner. I came to work with OK Generators in 1990. I bought it with a partner in 1998, and I bought my partner out in 2004. And since then, we grew from a $4 million a year company to a $20 million a year company. We're very closely tied to the construction industry. There's a lot of new construction going on right now. And it's a very, very exciting time. Very exciting time.
That is. So why don't you start with you were down here in high school and how you got to Broward College?
I went to Nova High School, and right across the street was Broward Community College. So a couple of us in the AP program were invited to come over in the afternoons and take a couple of college courses. And you know what it really did it was pretty cool to be considered a college kid when we weren't really, but it also gave you a taste of the college life. You know, walking around on campus, going to classes, getting acclimated to, being in a lab and being in a lecture hall and things like that. It really gave me a leg up entering college after that, knowing what to expect.
Right. So were there any particular classes or professors you took that stood out in your mind that helped you to think of
All
your
my
path?
AP classes I took were English based and social studies based, which is kind of odd because I'm an engineer now, and but it was all very, very interesting and enthralling, and I just, I couldn't get enough of it back then, and I recommend it for any student that's going on a post secondary education to be able to start that way and get acclimated to that environment.
That's really great. So tell us about what you studied nuclear engineering and electrical engineering and then went into the Navy. Is that how you got on
I
your
was in the Navy. I went to the United States Naval Academy. I got a degree in nuclear engineering. When I got out of the Navy, I thought, wow, what do I do with that degree? And the answer is absolutely nothing. So I went back to college and NYU, the Regents College in NYU, credited my Navy experience. I took a couple classes and got a degree in electrical engineering, which is kind of based on what I do now.
Yes. And then you came back here to Broward County and started your company, and the rest is history. I know you're very involved. How could you let other people know about getting involved in the community and all you do to give back? Talk a little about your philanthropy.
Well, I always said as I was working my way up that when I could give back, I would. And giving back doesn't necessarily mean writing checks. I think intellectual capital, making introductions, and giving of yourself and your time is just as important as writing checks. So for a young person looking to get involved in philanthropy, I would just say go to somewhere and volunteer. Give them your time because that is the one thing that we cannot cultivate with money. We cannot buy time with money. We can only buy stuff with money.
Great. So do you have advice that someone gave you? I know you're always the first one to give great advice, but what advice did someone give you?
I would tell you, my first submarine commander, Jerry Sullivan, who was a 5'2" man with a commanding presence that was bigger than any I've ever seen before. When Captain Sullivan walked into the room, you just snapped to attention whether you wanted to or not. And he was that commanding for a little guy. And it wasn't so much what he knew or what he did, it was how he carried himself and the fact that he let you know that when he walked in the room that you had his undivided attention.
Wow, that's great.
He was quite an inspiring
Do you have a favorite quote that you like that you think about?
man. There's an old Polish philosopher, Stanislavski, and his favorite quote was improvise. So, no situation is perfect. No situation is tailor made for what you're doing. And improvisation has a lot to do with every situation you ever find yourself
Wow. So can you tell us something that you're super excited for today in today's world?
I'm super excited for this pandemic to be near turning the corner, so to speak. I see the daily numbers. I see the horizon and return to normality. And I just see as a society, there's a lot of damage that's done by not having socialization, and especially for our children, and for them to get that back is I believe super important, especially because they don't have as much of that as we had when we were younger. They have video games and we didn't. So I think that socialization, that peer interaction is so important for them.
Yes,
It
that's
helps, it will help them develop the soft skills that many people are missing entering into the workplace. You can have all the education in the world, but without the soft skills and the ability to present yourself, you're going to be a fish out of water.
right. That's good advice. Very good. So what name something that you're deeply grateful for?
Oh my gosh. They say you manufacture your own luck, and that's not true. I am grateful for all the steps that fell into place for me that allowed me to be where I am at this point in my life. I'm super grateful for my three wonderful children. One is in college and two work for me right now. I'm at just a really good point in my life, really
That,
good point in my life where I'm starting to wind down and think a little bit about retirement.
wow, that'll be good because we know you'll be back in the community giving even more than you already do now while working. So
I
do you
want
have
to run someone's foundation for them. That's what I
right,
want to do.
right, right. And we'll look forward to that. Do you have any heroes that you want to share with some of the people that might be watching?
Well, Captain Sullivan was my big hero and my inspiration. There was also a guy that I met um, in the Navy, and he was Rear Admiral, and he was actually the father of the nuclear power program, Admiral Hyman Rickover. And he's a fabled. He's also a diminutive guy, not big in stature but big in presence. And this is a man who started the Navy working on nuclear power and made it what it is today. So all the stories you've ever heard about him are true. And he interviewed every one of us coming out of college and going into the nuclear power program. And he was, to meet that kind of pioneer who really charted the course, so to speak, for profession is very impressive.
Very good, very good. Well, we really appreciate all that you have to say, and we're thrilled that you got your start here at Broward College. And we know
Absolutely.
that others can follow in your footsteps and your path. So thank you so much. It's great to hear
Thank
from
you,
you
Joe.
today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.